Joining us for the news at 11, I'm Chris Fry. Let's say good evening to 19 First Alert meteorologist Erika Paige. All right, the rain pushing away.
It is.
But the wind remains.
It will. And we said this was likely going to be the case for us as we headed into Halloween, that we were going to clear out at least the more organized rain chance, and then things would become a bit more isolated for us for your Friday. But if you look at that Edgewater Beach camera, certainly you can see the wind kind of whipping those trees around a little bit more. And we also have a lot of white caps out on the water, indicating that you still have some pretty strong winds coming in from the north. And that's what's going to basically secure some cooler feeling temperatures by the time many of us wake up tomorrow morning. And do keep in mind, if you're up near the lakeshore, your winds are going to likely stay the strongest as we go through this overnight period. So just kind of anticipate that now. As we start to wind down this 19 First Alert weather day, again, the main reason we had it in effect was because of the wind as well as some of that rain. But now we're starting to decrease the rain portion of it as this area of low pressure continues to lift up to the north. I've also had people commenting, maybe a few more headaches today because of this area of low pressure nearby. So if you've noticed you've maybe had a little bit more of a headache or a migraine or things like that, it could very well be that low pressure system sitting so close to northeast Ohio. But now that we're into the later part of tonight, yes, we still have some organized showers loosely as they're still moving through places like Medina County into Summit County. This is expected to continue for at least the next couple of hours for our eastern zones. You probably still have till about 2-3 o'clock in the morning before we really start to see that lake effect feed slowly start to taper off. But if you're in, say, Lorain County, areas west, your rain chances are pretty much done for you for the rest of tonight, and you're really just waiting on those temperatures to cool off. A lot of us right now are sitting about mid-40s, couple upper 40s, closer you are to the lake, but notice that wind is still going to stick around with us, becoming a bit more westerly as we go through the overnight as temperatures drop into the 40s. But when you do factor in that wind, it gives you a wind chill, likely for many of us, probably in that mid 30-degree range by early tomorrow morning. So definitely make sure you're bundled up before you head out the door. I'll walk you through that trick-or-treat forecast hour by hour coming up here in just a few minutes. Holidays here as we look to close out 2025. And if you had trick-or-treating plans tonight, it was a little bit of a battle to get through, I'm sure, especially with some of the rain and that wind that was around the area this evening. The wind hasn't necessarily lightened significantly. It is still going to be gusty at times. You'll notice men are just gusted upwards of 31 miles per hour. So that part of the forecast doesn't change a whole lot as we step into basically tomorrow. But at least in terms of this widespread rain that we've been dealing with for the last couple of hours and several hours really through a good majority of today, that is going to come to an end here next couple of hours. And that's when we're really going to start to see some bigger improvements as we go through the day tomorrow. Though keep in mind there still will likely be some lake effect impacts as we get into tomorrow evening, but we have to build in some moisture there first. You'll notice western Ohio and into Indiana sitting very quiet right now with a lot of clear skies. That's some drier air that's mixing in on the backside of this system. And so you have to kind of re-moisten your atmosphere up a little bit more. And doing that will come as we go through the day tomorrow, as we bring in a little bit of moisture from the west. So that's what we're going to be waiting on. And if we're going to see any rain materialize for your Halloween or trick-or-treating, that's where it's going to be coming from. Right now, this is where most of the rain is across northeast Ohio. A lot of it's starting to push east of the 71 corridor. So eventually the 77 corridor will be in the clear, and that's only going to continue to really dry things out for us as we go through the rest of tonight. This is 3 o'clock in the morning. A couple of our eastern counties still dealing with a couple of those showers, but for the most part, we sit pretty quiet to begin our Halloween day. Temperatures will be mid to upper 30s to about lower 40s. Just depends on where you're at here across northeast Ohio. But remember, with the wind, it is going to feel more so like we are well into the mid 30s, if not a little bit cooler than that by early tomorrow morning. Then we go through the course of the day tomorrow. We'll likely see some sunshine, especially first part of the day. But then through the afternoon, should get a little bit more cloud cover mixing in. That's eventually going to source a little bit of better moisture for us as we get into tomorrow evening for a few hit or miss showers. This will not be a washout for everybody. In fact, I think a lot of us will probably stay very quiet as we go through the course of your Friday evening. But just know that if you're in our lakeshore communities into the primary snow belt, you have an opportunity to pick up on at least a shower or two as we get into your Friday evening. Then by Saturday, winds become a bit more westerly, and so it basically keeps any rain chance around largely confined to our far eastern zones. But yes, it is going to be windy tomorrow evening. Factor that in when you're talking about a temperature upper 40s to about low 50s. It's probably going to feel more so like we are into the lower 40s for any of those trick-or-treat costumes. So keep that in mind for how you send the kids maybe out and about when they're trick-or-treating tomorrow evening. As we get into the weekend, things really start to quiet down for us. We bring back a bit more sunshine, temperatures warming during the afternoon. Overnight, certainly a little cooler as well. Next bigger opportunity for rain comes in on Monday. Right now it looks pretty scattered in nature, and then we'll warm things up middle part of the work week before we eye our next bigger pattern change coming in by next weekend. As always,